Hello and welcome to this year's launch of the Ecogain Biodiversity Index.
Is it possible to combine the ongoing climate conversion of society with a prospering biodiversity and at the same time enhance global human well-being? This is what puts nature at the core of all businesses. But do European companies care about nature and biodiversity? Do they understand it's relevant to them? We have reviewed 398 sustainability reports from large companies all over Europe. And now we will present the results. First, 31% of these companies don't even mention biodiversity. That's on the bad side.
On the good side, we see a positive development over time with an increasing share of the largest Nordic companies having biodiversity goals in line with science over the last 3 years. And this year, 10 European companies stand out and reaches gold level in the Ecogain Biodiversity Index. You will soon see the full list and meet with one of them. But first, who are we? And why Ecogain Biodiversity Index?
I am Enetjärn. I'm the founder of Ecogain. I'm a business developer, and my passion is to contribute to a business community that will be planet positive. For me, nature with all its inhabitants represents the essential quality of life for me.
And I am Tove Hägglund. I'm sales manager at Ecogain, passionate about a truly sustainable future, and I am convinced of the key role of businesses in getting there. And who are Ecogain?
Ecogain is a Swedish consultancy serving large companies on sustainable business development and mitigating their ecological footprints. We work with all kinds of industries, and we work from strategy to the actions, real actions on the ground, in nature and in the value chains. What is Ecogain Biodiversity Index, Tove?
We call it the EBI, and it's a ranking of sustainability reports from large companies. EBI evaluates listed companies in all Europe, and in Sweden, also unlisted companies are included. In last years, we have had focus on the Nordics. This year's having broadened the scope to all Europe. And in the autumn, we will also be expanding to the US. The ranking is based on a series of evaluation questions. There are 23 questions, and the top ranking is 29. The questions are categorized in 5 subsets. First, identify. Do the company identify its impacts and dependencies on nature? Second, prioritize. Has the company prioritized its work on biodiversity? Third, set goal. Has the company set goals on biodiversity? And are these goals measurable, timed, and in line with science? Fourth, act. Does the company have a plan for and act on biodiversity? And finally, track. Do the company track and monitor and report on their progress towards their goals?
There is an important note about EBI. It's EBI. The rating is not. We don't rate which companies that contribute most to biodiversity. We don't rate which companies have the lowest or highest impact on biodiversity. EBI measures the reporting from the companies, the reporting on biodiversity, and that's not the same as actual effort, but it's reasonable to assume that there is a correlation between the reporting and actual performance on the ground and in the value chains.
So why an index on biodiversity?
For the first, we do this for the world, for the people, because biodiversity is as big an issue as climate. And you might all know that biodiversity is directly or indirectly underlying at the bottom line for every single one of the 17 UN sustainability goals. And we also know that 80% of global GDP is depending on biodiversity. And lately, the IPCC panel concluded that climate change and the loss of biodiversity must be tackled together. At the same time, biodiversity is a largely overseen issue within the business community. This was concluded, for example, last year by Swedish Handelsbanken. So, through EBI, Ecogain wants to inspire action and reporting on an issue that is crucial for humanity and linked to both big risks and big possibilities for the companies. Now to the results, Tove. What are the top-ranked companies in Ecogain Biodiversity 2022 in all Europe?
These are the top-ranked businesses in Europe in EBI 2022. They all reached 18 points or more in the Ecogain Biodiversity Index. And as you see in the upper list, those are the major companies in Europe. And the highest score goes to Vattenfall, Swedish Vattenfall, followed by Finnish Stora Enso. No, sorry, French Engie, of course. Finnish Stora Enso and French Louis Vuitton. And common to all of these top-ranked companies is that they have timed and measurable goals on biodiversity, and that they all work with restoration or regeneration activities. And when I look at this list, I think it's encouraging to see that so many different sectors are represented at the top. And it's important, as these companies are inspiring others, leading the way. But Anders, are there any general differences between different sectors?
Yes, for sure, there are differences. And not surprising is that industries with a direct impact on biodiversity have a higher EBI score than industries with its impact further down the value chain. We have seen this also last years. And this year we can see that the sectors, energy and utilities, are top ranked in every subset of these evaluation, EBI evaluation questions, while sectors like technology, financials and industrials are far behind. And surprising for us is that still this year, as many as 31% of the companies don't even mention biodiversity. We thought that figure would be much better this year. Though even here it's a striking difference between different sectors, where, for example, healthcare and information technology, half of the companies don't mention biodiversity, whereas in energy, only 5% have forgotten or don't mention this issue. So they have come much further on the line. This difference with these, some technologies, some companies, some sectors coming far behind might reflect a blind spot in these businesses' risk assessments. And very interesting this year is that among consumer staples, 20% of the companies have started setting requirements in their value chains on biodiversity. And this is a new trend that we haven't seen before, and that we will be keen on following up the coming years. Now it's time for you to meet the highest ranked company in Ecogain Biodiversity this year.
Welcome to the stage, Vattenfall and Head of Environment, Helle Herk Hansen.
Whoa!
Thank you very much. Oh, does it work? Yes. Thank you very much.
We have a small gift for you.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations for a new top ranking in the Ecogain Biodiversity Index.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very proud to be here. I wish that the hundreds of Vattenfallers that have been working on this could be at stage with me today.
That would be fine.
Yes.
What is your first comment when hearing of this?
Well, looking at Vattenfall in company with the other very big companies from Europe, I'm very proud. I know that a lot of these companies have also really worked hard on biodiversity, and of course, so have we, but I definitely did not expect this.
What are the driving forces for you at Vattenfall to work hard on biodiversity?
Energy production depends on nature and impacts nature, and we have to take a responsibility. That's clear. Vattenfall has a purpose to enable fossil-free living and to secure the energy transition. Attaining permits, we need that, and their biodiversity is key. Wind tenders for example, offshore wind, biodiversity is key differentiator, or getting acceptance in general. So, I mean, to speed up the transition to avoid climate change also impacting or degrading ecosystems even further, I mean, it's super crucial for us.
Mm-hmm. Helle, if I would be working in Vattenfall, how would I notice, or would I notice that Vattenfall has high ambitions on biodiversity?
I mean, I hope you would.
Yeah.
We've set ambitious targets, and we've asked our different businesses to break that down into concrete actions for them. So make action plans, right? And we follow up that. But that, of course, doesn't mean that everybody would know. So we do a lot of efforts in communicating about birds, bats, butterflies, bees, showcasing the different examples of what we do at our sites. And then, I mean, we have targets like more green features on our offices or service buildings, urban gardens, but we could do much more.
Okay, but would you say that your colleagues know about biodiversity? Or?
I think a very big majority of them really knows that we are ambitious in the area. Yes,
okay.
We're 20,000 people. It's a lot of people to reach, but we're getting out there.
Okay.
And you are a front runner within biodiversity. As we see, many companies are in the starting blocks or haven't already taken on this journey. What would you send to companies that are at the beginning and ask themselves, how could we take on this complex issue?
Yeah, I think you already mentioned it a little bit in your presentation here. First of all, you of course need to understand your key impacts and your dependencies, and work with that. I mean, you need to be credible. You need to address the bigger issues. So what's material? Start there. But I would also say, don't forget, the smaller things, the visual things. What you can do around your premises, keeping areas you own wild instead of mowing the lawns or similar. So that at least for us, I've seen that is also fostering creativity and engagement and making everybody think, what can we do differently?
Do you get many inspirations from your employees as well? I mean, who are driving this work ahead?
I'm getting many inspirations, and I'm asking for inspiration as well. We have some persons in our company that are really, coming up with fantastic ideas. We just did a nature photo contest, and we use that to engage people at site to really, look out, see what species we've seen, or our assets in special lighting or whatever it might be. But at the same time, we do it to register. So what are the species at our site and so forth. I mean, these ideas, we have another one where there is a guy that are collecting flower seeds and planting them in fields around our hydropower plants. I mean, I totally adore these examples.
Okay. Helle, another one of your colleagues is the CEO, Anne Borg. You mentioned when you came here this morning her reactions on this scoring in EBI. Could you share that with the audience?
Yeah, I of course directly told her about this news, and she was very, very excited, and of course congratulated all the people that has contributed to making this happen. there's no doubt that our top management are very much aware of the fact that if we want to implement our strategy, I mean, we really need to have nature at heart.
Helle, I would say that I would guess that scoring this high doesn't come without business intelligence. You must have a good view on what is coming up in the topic of business and biodiversity. Is there something you would like to share? What is ahead in this issue? Share to the audience.
Yes, I mean, first, we will see an explosion in awareness on biodiversity, nature-based solutions. So whether it's reforestation or peatland restoration or whatever things we can act on, we will see that coming. And one of the areas is also strengthening the connection between climate change and biodiversity. This we will see. But then there are two other areas that I really would like to mention, because we need to be better at measuring and have common frameworks, because also the financial sector is starting to look into this, and they need to be able to assess companies like us. So whether it's science-based target or task force for nature-related disclosure, we need these frameworks. But we also need to measure at site, and there Business and Biodiversity Sweden are working on a super project there that we're happy to participate in. So this will need to grow as well. And the last thing, research. So we need to make sure that our decisions are based on evidence, and we need to do much more research, but we also need to share it, make it available for all.
Thank you, Helle. And the best of luck to you and Vattenfall.
Really nice having you here.
Yes.
A warm applause to Helle Hansen.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Well done.
When we look ahead, we see that the trend of more and more companies setting goals on biodiversity, in addition to these goals being more relevant, will continue. We see that more and more companies will realize that it's in the value chains that they must start exploring their impacts and dependencies on biodiversity, and then start making demands. There will be a rapid development of measurability within biodiversity, as Helle mentioned. There's a strong need and many initiatives ongoing. And we also see that there will be an increase in actual measures on the ground and in the waters. I understand from the outside world that we have only just seen the beginning of how companies will want to get involved and invest in biodiversity. The new EU directive CSRD will mean major changes. The sustainability reporting from corporates will become more comparable between companies and also over time. And it will be clear that sustainability is expected to be at the core of companies' business models.
You already got some really good tips from Helle on steps for biodiversity. Can you change slide?
No.
Yeah. Can we change slide?
Thanks.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, we want to give you the advice. Get back one slide, please. Thank you so much. We want to give you 5 concrete steps for business action on biodiversity, but you had some really good steps from Helle. And we would like to stress business intelligence. You really need to start learning this really complicated topic. So we used to say to companies, start educating yourself. That's the first step. Helle stressed the importance on analyzing your impact and dependencies. Make sure that you know what is material to your business, that you set targets where they really make a difference. So set measurable, timed and relevant objectives, and then you could start create your strategy and actually take action. it is okay to start with the action, but you will need to come back to materiality. And we couldn't say this without addressing the issue of cooperating. So don't forget to cooperate with others. It might be your business colleagues, your stakeholders, the civil society, the NGOs, your competitors, your neighbors. Start cooperating on this very complicated topic. Also, the last slide, before I leave the last words to Tove, I would say that you can download the full Ecogain Biodiversity Report from Ecogain's website. There you can find about 100 of the top listed companies. From the website, you can also get into the full table of all the 400 companies. But if you want to have the data in every single question, you need to go to the Nasdaq ESG data portal. That's where you find the full spreadsheet. So then I leave to you, Tove, to wrap up this session.
Thank you, Anders. And finally, biodiversity is truly something that engages more and more people and more companies. And we face a huge challenge. That's why we think it's so encouraging to see that the trend is positive, with more and more companies sincerely striving to contribute to this global task. And as a final word, I would like to quote our CEO, Fredrik Höök. We have the capability to come together, to find solutions, and create remarkable results. Before this decade of action is over, let's prove it again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tack så mycket.